everyone. Welcome to the recap of the Halo Bowl. This is Dustorm from Podtacular, and I'm joined by my fellow podcasting cohorts from Drunken Halo and Podcast Evolved. And we also have a special guest with us tonight as we are going through and recapping our tournament experience and helping raise money for our Gamers Outreach cart that we were trying to raise money for. But I'll go ahead and start off with the champions who are in the house. So first off, welcome Travis Bryce from Drunken Halo.
Yeah, what's up, man? It's glad to be here and glad that I can call ourselves champions. I'm not going to lie. It feels amazing.
I bet it does. And then we have his podcaster in crime, his brother, Justin, as well on the show.
What's up?
What is up? You didn't exactly get to participate, but since you're kind of the show meister, it's an honor to have you back.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
Awesome. You'll be I guess you can kind of fill the spot in for Delta Halo since they're not able to make it tonight.
Okay. Well, hi, I'm Delta Halo.
There you go.
You can make sure to use their catchphrase that we came up with on the last show, Just.
Evolved.
Which was?
Oh, what was their catchphrase?
I don't remember, but you threw out a couple ideas towards the end of the show. They, I think, politely rejected it, but you're Delta Halo
silently
for this episode.
It
So, yeah.
Silently rejected.
Well, I don't recall any of them, so if anyone can remember, let me know. But
You can just make something up then.
There we go. It's in the end of the podcast somewhere.
to infinity and beyond. I don't know.
That's actually a better one than probably one of the ones we came up with, actually, if you think about it. We also have Oren from Podcast Evolved. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Sorry Drew couldn't make it, but I'll be repping our side of things.
Awesome.
Where is he?
He is in training and just getting ready to go be deployed to Afghanistan, and so he sent me a message and he was like, "Hey man, X, Y, and Z have a lot of stuff going on." So he wanted me to just represent as much as I could on his behalf, and shout out to Zach and he's very proud of the community and the event and everything that went on, and we're really proud of the event, and he's really grateful that we were able to put it on.
Well, and tell him we all wish the best for him and his upcoming year. So,
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yep, that deployment's going to be an interesting one of that, as it sounds like so far. And then our special guest with us is actually the founder and owner of Gamers Outreach, Zach Wigal. And I hope I said that correctly.
You did, yeah. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me, guys, and congratulations on the success of the very first Halo Bowl. It was a blast seeing you all compete. And I know I said this earlier, but I feel like I know you all now. I was watching your stream all day, and I realized this is the first time we've talked, I think. I met Dustin at E3 last week, but otherwise, it's good to meet everybody.
So did y'all get to hang out or anything, or did y'all just meet in passing and talk for like 5 minutes?
We hung out a bit. We met. We actually ran into each other a few times. The first was at like an Xbox shindig, and Dustin came up and introduced himself, and I was like, "Oh no way, man!" And so I think we talked for a good 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was a while.
Yeah, it was, maybe even longer. Honestly, it's hard when it's hard to even know how much time has passed. And then we saw each other again. We played Halo together, actually, appropriately, in the Razer booth. I think it was like a day or two later.
Yeah, they had a little tournament. Well, not tournament, but they had a little contest going on where whoever had the longest FFA streak was going to get, I think, a Razer keyboard, a Razer headset, and something else from the Razer booth. And they have this really cool new chroma key keyboard that you can individually light up the keys, and there's plugins to different games, so you can light up the keys based on what game you're playing, or you can have it like dance a rainbow of colors or whatever. So I think they were giving one of those keyboards away every day for whoever had the longest streak. So we got to properly play some Halo in that, which was kind of fun.
So Zach, are you good at Halo? Like, do you and Halo go way back, or is it? I know you're a gamer, but
I used to be. I used to be okay. I'd say. I mean, it depends on your. It's all relative, right? So it depends on your definition of good. I was level. I don't know that I ever actually got to 50. I think I was like level 48, 49 Brigadier. I was like the guy who was like cursed in Halo 3 with like the Brigadier rank, but like I had like 3 bars under my Eagle and like could not get the Gold Star General rank. For whatever reason, I don't know if I was just not good or not putting enough time in, or my KDR maybe wasn't that great. I don't know, but I go back a long ways with Halo. I'd say not as long as some. I started getting into Halo right towards the end of Halo 2. Mainly played a lot of Halo 3, and then kind of continued to play Halo until honestly the latest games I've kept up with on a general level. And so I stay up to date with the scene and the competitive space mainly, but I haven't really dived into playing most of the recent games as much as I did like Halo 3 and partially, Halo 4 back in the day. But I used to be Walshy's manager, who's a pro Halo player. You guys might be familiar with, kind of like one of the first major Halo personalities. Long story how we met. It all kind of actually connects through Gamers Outreach. But Halo 2 was kind of my first foray into the Halo universe, kind of through the way Gamers Outreach got started, funny enough.
That's awesome, man. So because you said you watched a lot of the stream, did watching that stream at all make you want to get Halo 5 and play a lot of it, or was it this is cool and we raised a lot of money and on to the next event?
Yeah, no, dude, honestly, man, I always want to play. Every time I watch any game, whether it's Halo or StarCraft, I always get that itch to jump in, and then I realize how bad I've become. StarCraft has the worst on me. I'm a big PC gamer as well. I'd say I've been like a lifelong PC gamer too, and I actually worked for Corsair for a period of time, which is like a hardware company. Basically make all the parts that go into a computer. And so it's funny because I love StarCraft a lot. I play a lot of StarCraft, and every time I watch competitive StarCraft, I think, oh man, I feel like I pick up these strategies, and I'm going to go into multiplayer and play these things. And then I remember that I am definitely not a pro level StarCraft player. And Halo's kind of the same way. I remember, not only watching you guys, but like a lot of the MLG events back in the day, I would watch, Walshy go compete or some of the players, and I always would get the itch to hop online and play myself. And it's fun watching. To be honest, the last few weeks have been a little weird personally, just because I've literally been in the process of moving. And I only just this past weekend got the shelf that my TV sits on and got my Xbox set up, and so I could play Halo. So I do have Halo 5, but I've not dove into it in the same way that I dove into Halo 3. I think part of it too, though, is like for me, gaming, especially with competitive gaming, it's always been kind of a communal experience, which I guess you guys would know the best of. You're the Halo communities represented here. When I played Halo 2 and Halo 3, a lot of my friends in high school were playing as well, and so part of it, I think, was jumping online to play with them, and also to enjoy the Halo game itself. And so now that everyone's kind of grown up, some of my friends, it's weird. You get older, and all of a sudden, like it becomes more and more difficult to find time to play games. I think that's like the evil inside joke of adulting. Even working in the video game industry, it's like you sort of almost you have to like forcibly make time to play games.
I definitely agree with that.
It just becomes harder with responsibility. So to be honest, I like Halo 5. It really, I haven't spent the time in Halo 5 that there was a point in time, literally, I think every day I was playing Halo 3. And my gamer score reflects the time that I spent only playing Halo 3 and not really playing other games on Xbox. And I get a lot of crap about that from friends, like, oh, why is your gamer score so low? And I'm like, because when 360 was out, like literally the entire lifespan of 360, I pretty much only played Halo 3, Halo Reach, then Halo 4. And then Halo 5, I when it dropped, I think I was in the midst of playing Games for Giving or one of the two, and I just haven't taken the time to play it as much as I did the other the Halo games.
What about the Master Chief Collection?
Played a little bit of it, but when I picked it up, they were experiencing a lot of the dropping issues.
Oh yeah.
Where people were connecting, disconnecting, and we ran a Halo tournament at Gamers for Giving for the Master Chief Collection, and 343 came out to help us host it. But I never, same thing. I kind of never got into it. Basically, since Xbox One launched, I've not. And I almost feel guilty admitting this on your guys' podcast. Jeez. It's like a confessional.
Use your words carefully.
Yes, please, Father, I have sinned. Please forgive me. I really, since Halo's transition to Xbox One, I've not taken the time to dive in as deeply as I did with the other Halo titles. Honestly, like on a personal level, I play a lot of PC titles. I have this habit of like getting stuck on like one game for a long period of time, and StarCraft's been the game for a while. Counter-Strike I play a lot of. On the Xbox, I've actually been playing a lot of Star Wars Battlefront lately, which I enjoy a lot. But Halo, again, it just kind of boils down to like a lot of the folks I used to play with. I'm almost said it. They've just sort of like. It's not that I don't say they don't play games anymore necessarily, but we don't play as frequently, because they have jobs. And it's just harder to get them online when I want to play. So for that reason, I don't know that I haven't really picked it up as much. It's not I wouldn't even be able to say necessarily if I enjoy this experience the same as much. But
so I've got one more question for Zach, Halo related, and then Dust, we can get to what you had on the itinerary because I don't want to hijack the show that you had planned. But so with E3, there was a lot of speculation of a Halo 3 anniversary. Were you hoping for that, or would that have drawn you into maybe Halo on the Xbox One, or would that have been just a moot point for you?
I think I would have been excited about Halo 3 anniversary for sure. I mean, I jumped into the Halo universe. Like I said, I started managing Walshy right towards the end of his Halo 2 career, throughout Halo 3, and then eventually to his retirement. And Gamers Outreach really started actually because of a canceled Halo 2 tournament. And so that period of time in the Halo universe was very much when I loved playing Halo. So I would probably be pretty excited for a Halo 3 anniversary. But at the same time, too, I also feel like, and I'm just saying this, honestly, I don't know that I have the same. I don't know that I'd be able to invest the same amount of time in Halo that I did when I was growing up. It's kind of the same reason like sort of pros retire, I think, to some degree at a relatively younger age. Is like you can't compete with like the 14, 15, 16-year-olds out there that are like. I mean, all they do is play Halo as soon as they get home from school. They're putting in like 8 to 10 hours a day into the game, and I want to sign in for like 2 or 3. But I would have definitely, if Halo 3 anniversary had been announced, I would have for sure picked it up and dove in as much as possible.
There's still, I think, a few rumors, at least talking with some people, of maybe it coming to PC, maybe having the Halo 3 anniversary be a PC thing, but I don't know with the whole Halo Online thing and how well that's, or how not well that's gone, if we'll ever see something like that ever come to PC. But one can always hope.
I personally think it makes sense. Like, to be honest with you, I'm almost surprised that Microsoft, I want to say, has taken this long to embrace PC gaming. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way necessarily. I think it's just kind of like Xbox has been the mantra. But, you think about it, anyone who's like a PC gamer, I would say, is probably playing on a Windows device. I mean, unless somebody is like really hardcore into Linux, and it takes a lot of maintenance to play games on a Linux PC, or unless they have a Mac and they're probably playing like more accessible like games like League of Legends, or some Steam titles that are a little more readily available. I want to say like a lot of PC gaming culture is Windows, and so for Microsoft to start moving some of their kind of headline titles to the PC universe. It makes a lot of sense to me. And I kind of agree with Phil Spencer's approach lately, where he's kind of really advocating for this multi-platform approach where Microsoft is, again, this company that is allowing you to enjoy a gaming experience on Microsoft devices in any way you sort of see fit. So I'm not opposed to it. I think the only challenge the players would have would be the whole mouse, keyboard versus controller thing. I mean, they'd have to almost like when you move something to a PC like that, there's a lot of opportunity for people to mod things, and it can become a little unfair, for people on the Xbox, especially if you're playing against people on the PC. If somebody's got a mouse and keyboard, like it's not even necessarily a skill question. It's a question of the tools you're using. I mean, it's just a lot easier to move your mouse a lot quicker. Where people it'd be like almost an unfair advantage, I'd say. So I think that would be kind of an interesting topic to address. But obviously, if there's some way to ensure people are only using their Xbox controllers or their PC, I think it makes sense. But I think it'd be cool. Ultimately, it just means more people can play, hopefully, on more devices. So I don't see why it would be a bad thing necessarily.
Well, not even think that it would have to be cross-play. Even just having the game on the PC and then having PC servers, I think would be enough. Because that's what they're going to be doing for Halo Wars. It's not going to be cross-play for that, but they're going to be able to. You're going to be able to hook up a controller to the PC version and still play the PC version with the controller if you want. You'll probably be put at a disadvantage because of RTS, and having all the keys on the keyboard with an RTS is kind of the PC's strong suit. So I don't see it of them like not doing it if they for some reason did come out with a Halo 3 anniversary, or which with the whole drive towards having this Xbox and PC platform with the new program that they announced, which I'm blanking on the name of now, I don't see why Halo 6 wouldn't be part of that program. So maybe we'll see at least a Halo 6 port to the PC.
I wouldn't be
I think
surprised.
that's possible. Yeah, I mean by that time frame because of where they're going.
Right, and I think it's kind of in their best interest too to go down that avenue and really look at what they can do with that. Because I think Halo on the PC would be a pretty. I don't think it'd be as maybe as popular as like Team Fortress or Overwatch or some of the other like signature first-person shooters like Counter-Strike Go. But I think it would definitely kind of garner some attention for PC players.
I think the PC gaming community, at the very least, would certainly appreciate it. Whether or not it would build up the huge competitive scene. Like, I mean, I feel like you think of competitive console shooters, and really there are only two. There's Call of Duty and Halo. And, would the competitive scene ever translate to PC gaming? Hard to say. I mean, my hesitation with the PC side of things is when you divide the community and you make things like, okay, this is exclusive to, like, there are certain servers that are only for PC players. There's certain servers for only Xbox players. I wonder if there's a bit of a split there where, are you going to have console gamers that would be willing to download something to the PC, to play it there, or are they going to stick with console? But maybe Microsoft doesn't see it that way. Maybe it's a way to, reach out to PC gamers exclusively who would be interested in playing in Halo. So I think I can see it going multiple directions. Whether it's, but at the very least, I do think it's, however the community would sort of evolve from that point. I do think that PC gamers, who wouldn't want more games to play? If there's another title, like Halo that comes to PC, I mean, it'd be amazing. And I also think too, like there might be an opportunity there for Microsoft, if this hasn't been done already, to just release all the Halo titles on PC, and make it something where PC gamers could experience the campaign and the story mode too. But who knows?
I think that they just would need to fix the bugs on the Master Chief Collection and then release that.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, maybe that's probably true. Like, perhaps there's a way to port the PC version. I have no idea how much work that takes on the back end, but it sounds like the content's already been created, so it could be maybe done.
And then you just have to take care of Reach after that.
Yeah, difficult to say, but I got to believe, like, if to be honest, the Halo 3 anniversary rumor, I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if maybe that comes, like, if it is a thing. I wouldn't be surprised if it maybe gets announced later this year or announced at next E3, and then perhaps we hear about Halo 6 in 2018. But that seems a little far off. I mean, I almost part of me was almost expecting to hear like a surprise Halo 6 bomb at this E3, just given the amount of stuff that had leaked prior. I almost thought like Microsoft one. I almost thought that was maybe an intentional leak, so that they could save some more surprises for the show, and like kind of like because like there's this whole idea of like the press can only talk about like so much at a given period of time, and you only get so much of people's attention span. So it might have been a smart move to like leak some of the stuff in advance. You sort of, if you're the marketing folks, you get like that press coverage for a period of time, and then people get excited about that for a couple of days. They're talking about that for a couple of days, and then you have a little more oxygen for when you want to drop like Halo 6 news, and it's like, oh my god, and then there's Halo 6, and there's this other bomb, So like I could have seen that happening. I actually was kind of expecting that during the briefing, but obviously it didn't happen. But who knows? Who knows what'll happen? It's an exciting. I think we're in this new golden era of gaming in general. There's so many cool announcements. There's so much coming out. The future is bright for sure.
Well, that was a nice little E3 recap for sure, and it was really nice actually getting to talk to you during the preview night and running into you on the floor, and then a couple other times too. It was really cool to talk to you. So I want to kind of roll into some of the Halo Bowl specific stuff. Since you're here, Zach, I want to kind of go over our final total, which I think we're going to actually close out either probably by the time this podcast is released or maybe even tonight. I don't know when we're going to close this out, but we were looking to raise $4,000 to completely fund a GO Kart, and I'll have Zach describe a little bit more about what that is here in a second. But we didn't quite get to 4,000. We were hoping to at least kind of get towards 2,000, but we still had an impressive $1,686 raised for a GO Kart. So I think for as many viewers as stopped by, which I actually didn't go back and check to see how many unique viewers we had for that stream, but I think at one point we kind of maxed out, in the 50s?
Someone told me that we had like 65 at one point, but
Nice.
I wasn't there. I mean, obviously I was kind of watching on and off, so I don't really know for sure, but that's what I heard through the grapevine, which is pretty good. And I honestly think we would have had a little bit more, but there was a 2v2 Halo with like professional Halo players in it that had, 300, 200, 400 viewers that I think we would have had more had it not been for that stupid 2v2 professional tournament.
Was that a Team Beyond thing?
Yeah, it was a Team Beyond tournament.
Gotcha.
But that's still pretty good. We're definitely on the front page, and I think we were like top 5 at one point, which was phenomenal.
I think we were like top 5 most of the night, actually.
Were we?
For Halo?
I mean, I think we were, in the Halo.
For Halo.
Yeah, the Halo filter. It was definitely top 10, but I want to say we were at least top 5 for the majority of the night from what I was hearing from kind of the chat room and on our page.
And I'll
that's great.
go ahead and take this moment to give a huge thanks to Mudcat and Riku for commentating.
And he dropped.
Classic.
Still. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, so Mudcat from Drunken Halo and then Raikou from Podtacular, they actually commentated for the whole night. We started at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, which would have been 3:30 p.m. Pacific. And we went on to, I think we played for, 6.5, 7 hours?
Something about that. It was it's definitely 6. Because it was midnight by the time I was done watching, at least.
Yeah, it was a late night. And it actually would have gone longer, but we actually had a little shortcut to take as far as kind of the overall standings went. And we'll get to that here in a minute as we go through and highlighting the tournament specifically. But so yeah, $1,686 we raised towards a GO Kart. And actually, while talking with you, Zach, last week, I don't know if you want to kind of talk about this or if it's still something that's kind of being worked in the back end, but even though we didn't fully fund a GO Kart, you're still going to be able to use this money to fund some other programs that you have, right?
Yeah. So the way it kind of works for us is there are really two primary things. The first is that if people raise the amount needed for a GO Kart, we can obviously deliver it directly to a hospital. But even if they don't necessarily reach the goal, we're able to combine their funds to support and supplement like other GO Kart builds that might either be in progress or maybe need finishing. Or maybe we need to like buy a few extra things for a particular Go Kart that end up getting used for a specific location. So we're definitely going to be able to, $1,600 is not a small amount of money. That's an incredibly impressive effort. And we're definitely going to be able to put it to use. So, I mean, thank you guys. And depending on when and what hospital ends up sort of benefiting from you guys' donation, if any of your team is nearby, it might be an opportunity for you to come out and actually sort of see the results of your work. But we're in this process right now. I kind of mentioned it in the chat during your broadcast, but we're actually building sort of a new version of our Go Karts. We wrote a blog about it a month ago, and then we're going to be showing some of the renderings of it probably in the next week or two on our site for the first time. So we're going to be rolling out a bunch of new Go Karts this fall. And so everything that we've been fundraising for and any fundraisers that are happening kind of between now and October are basically helping us build this kind of first new batch of Go Karts. So I could definitely speak to like what the Go Karts are and kind of what we do if you guys would like, or we can save it for later, just depending on what your itinerary looks like.
Yeah, sure. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, since we're on the topic, just kind of give an overall kind of summary of it for the listeners.
So the Go Karts, in our case, Go Karts just stands for Gamers Outreach Karts, which seemed like a clever acronym at the time, and we just got to continue to go with it. Yeah, so we've been sort of rolling with it, if you will, and the Go Karts.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Man, we're clever. We're big on puns. Very very big on puns here at Gamers Outreach.
Awesome.
Anyway, I digress. So we started building these things actually just sort of originally as a one-off project. We started out in Ann Arbor, Michigan. There was a hospital in our hometown called Mott Children's Hospital. And back in like 2009, we were starting to host a video game tournament called Gamers for Giving. And we got into the second year of hosting our event. And we wanted to do something for our local children's hospital. We were starting to raise some money. And we thought it would be fun to go around and to go to Best Buy, buy a bunch of video games for the kids and deliver them to the hospital. And at the time, there weren't really as many gaming charities that existed. Actually, Child's Play was around. We even thought about maybe doing a fundraiser for them, but our hospital actually wasn't on the Child's Play list. So we just directly called up our hospital and we said, hey, we're this group of at the time we were high schoolers actually. We would love to buy you guys a bunch of video games. Would those be of use? Well, we went to the hospital, we visited, and we noticed that the hospital had some games already, but a lot of those games were getting stuck in playrooms. And so we met this person called a child life specialist. And if you go to a pediatric hospital, you often find these people. A child life specialist is basically somebody who sort of takes care of kids in between all the times they're seeing the doctor. So if you think about it this way, a doctor is kind of somebody who is your caretaker. They're the person who's helping you get better, right? Like maybe they are performing a surgery, maybe they're diagnosing whatever it is that's going on. The child life specialist is the person who's kind of in charge of your quality of life in the hospital. And so they're the ones who are oftentimes becoming the pseudo-parents for kids in the hospital environment, where they're explaining procedures, they're making sure kids are eating right, they're helping kids keep up with schoolwork. But a big portion of their job is coming up with activities for kids that are in the hospital for long periods of time. So what happens is video games nowadays are a huge pastime for a lot of kids. I mean, they're coming into the hospital environment. Video games are already something that are very familiar. The kids are already playing. And so child life specialists are frequently sort of relying on games as a way to help kids cope with the treatment they're going through. They're a way for kids to socialize with friends who might be outside of the hospital environment, or even internally, kids who are inside the hospital environment. But one of the challenges they face is they're trying to not only kind of manage this equipment that sometimes gets donated, but they're also trying to secure it within the hospital and then make it easily portable. And so if you think about an Xbox, if you donate an Xbox to a hospital, that's great, but it takes a bit of legwork on the hospital's end to put that to use, right? Like maybe they need to put the Xbox into a playroom, they have to secure it in some way. Or what we notice is sometimes a kid who might be stuck in bed wants to play the Xbox, and then the nurse has to take the Xbox out of the room, give it to the kid who's in bed somewhere. But by doing so, they eliminate the Xbox for kids who are well enough to come to the playroom, and then they show up and they're like, where'd the Xbox go? And then sometimes you have folks who maybe don't know, in their defense, I mean, they're great at taking care of kids, but maybe they don't know a lot about, the latest video games. And so hooking this stuff up can be really time consuming and take away from their normal day. So that's a very long-winded explanation, but that's kind of why we started building the Go Karts. We basically noticed that it would be helpful for our local hospital staff members to have something that could contain the video games and easily kind of wheel them room to room, particularly for kids who were stuck in bed for long periods of time. And so we actually found a medical company that was willing to let us kind of repurpose one of their existing medical devices to build the initial Go Kart. So we built our first one for Vermont Children's Hospital in 2009. The hospital loved it. In fact, they asked for another, and then a neighboring hospital found out what we had done and asked for one. And then organically, just kind of over the years, it went from building one or two a year to building a couple a month, to different streamers coming forward and wanting to build them to, now we have go-karts in almost 20 hospitals around the country. And we estimate if 8 kids per day are using a single cart, we're probably supporting around 100,000 children per year in hospitals around the country. And right now our website says 80,000, but you guys are kind of hearing it first. But I'm pretty sure we maybe just recently broke the 100K mark. But we're following up with all the hospitals we support to kind of just check back and make sure that we're providing accurate estimates on the number of kids who are playing them per day. So it might be something this is a Halo podcast exclusive with you guys, but we might be past the 100K mark per year. So that's an annual number, right? Like every day you think about like a go-kart might be in a hospital where there are 200 patient beds. Well, obviously 200 kids can't use the go-kart all in the same day. So there's like a waiting list that maybe gets created. And so there might be 10, 12, maybe 20 kids per day that are using a go-kart. And we've been kind of operating with this average number of 8, just given that sometimes a go-kart might be with one child, maybe sometimes it's in a playroom, it's with like 20. And so we try to follow up every so many months to check in with the hospitals and see how things have been going. But just through that, we're able to very tangibly kind of illustrate the impact that every single go-kart makes. We can tell you the lifespan of the go-kart. Thankfully, we've not had one break yet. So we're still trying to figure out like what the average lifespan is of a go-kart. It seems like it could be a decade or more. So we've yet to kind of find out like when they typically break. Hopefully never, obviously, but that day could come. So anyway, that's kind of how the project started. I mean, we started out very much just as a group of people who enjoyed hosting video game tournaments. And then this kind of particular initiative started taking on a life of its own. And now we're trying to build them for hospitals around the country just because, the games are making such an impact inside the children's hospital environment. And so our big focus is making the tools, the physical tools that ensure games are accessible. So obviously we deliver games with the go-karts, but our real focus is like, we sort of see ourselves as the platform builders more than we do, the group that's kind of delivering video games. Obviously, again, we do both, but the go-karts are kind of our big flagship project.
Yeah. Any plans to take any to Dallas?
We need to. In fact, we have one, and this actually is not listed on our website, but years ago we actually donated a go-kart to the Dallas Veterans Hospital. It's not listed on our website because of our focus is mainly the pediatric environment. Although I obviously I'm not we haven't committed to this or anything yet, but I don't really understand why we wouldn't open up the go-karts to regular hospitals at some point too. I mean, I'm in my 20s. If I was in the hospital, I'd want to play video games.
Right? It's not just for kids.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, why do kids get all the good stuff? Like, we need to represent here, at our hospitals too. But I mean, obviously, I say that jokingly. I mean, kids,
adults. Games are for kids.
Yeah, I know. Seriously,
that's not true.
Right? No, totally. It's it's definitely something that I don't see why if people wanted to build go-karts for a regular hospital, like sure. I mean, I would even argue, sometimes the regular hospitals are probably underserved. I mean, there's times where people get into circumstances where they are, hospitalized for a reason of not what they're doing. Maybe sometimes it is what they're doing, but either way, it's like certainly it would make a difference, for them too. So. Either way, to your question about Dallas, we actually have one in a veterans hospital in Dallas, but we don't have any in any pediatric hospitals, and we would love to install some. I hope it's only a matter of time. Actually, I truly believe that it is, especially when we start rolling out the new go-kart. So we've got a waiting list we've got folks who have funded go-kart builds, and they're waiting for the 2.0 units to be constructed later this year and then delivered. And I'm hoping, either between now and then or right when we start delivering the new ones, that it's only a matter of time before we're able to fund one for a Dallas hospital. So it needs to happen. I mean, actually, if you go to our website, if you're on the homepage and you scroll down to the bottom, there's actually a map of the U.S. and you can see little blips for all the hospitals that we currently support. And there's a listing there of the various hospitals that have go-karts and who donated them. The only there's a couple that aren't up to date. Los Angeles actually has 6 go-karts. Right now there's one. I actually need to update that. That's just a thing I've been putting off. But yes, there are a bunch all over the country at the moment. But there are just under 200 major children's hospitals in the U.S. and we're only in around 20. So there's still a long way for us to go, to be supporting a lot of these locations.
Yeah.
Right. There's another program that you mentioned to me too that I wanted to kind of slightly touch on before we kind of get off the Gamers Outreach topic. But that is it just Player 2 or is it Ready Player 2?
It's Player 2. So I'm glad you brought it up. We've been piloting this new program back in Ann Arbor, Michigan called Player 2. And basically we've been inviting gamers into the hospital environment to become digital activity managers. And the way this works at Mott, at our local hospital, is that basically we have Xboxes that we've installed throughout the whole hospital. And gamers are coming in, and they're doing 3 primary things. They are helping hospital staff members distribute games to patients throughout the hospital. So they actually have a kind of a library cart with a bunch of games. And they go floor to floor, and they ask kids if they want to check out games for the day. And then they are also helping to solve minor tech issues. So if an HDMI cord gets unplugged and a nurse thinks that maybe an Xbox is broken, but really just needs a little love and care, they can kind of come in and help facilitate a quick fix. But also more importantly, sometimes there are major issues where maybe the internet's out and somebody needs to call IT. And so the benefit of the volunteers has been that one of the gamers is able to handle a fix with the IT department, which allows the child life specialist to just save time and continue doing things that are patient focused. And so that's been incredibly helpful for the hospital staff. But beyond that, and most importantly, the gamers have actually become play buddies for the kids. And it's been incredible to hear the feedback from some of the volunteers who've been involved. You wouldn't believe how happy kids get to have someone playing Minecraft with them. Or maybe you would believe it, but it's just incredible to hear some of the stories. I mean, there's so many kids who are excited to have someone who comes in and says, hey, do you want to play video games and do you want to play Minecraft or any other game? And I use Minecraft as an example just because it's crazy popular right now. But kids are so excited to have somebody who wants to play and help them build a world. It's kind of cool for them to have an older person who almost becomes a mentor in some ways, who's able to help them kind of lead them through an experience. And we've also had instances where the volunteers have actually been able to help connect the kids to other children in the hospital. Actually, on our website right now, there's a recent blog. One of the volunteers tells the story where some kids were walking through the hallway and he noticed them watching him and this patient play Minecraft together, and he invited them into the room, and they ended up creating this sort of 3-4 person Minecraft play session where everyone was sort of playing together, which was super cool. So that's something we've been piloting at our local hospital, and we want to start rolling it out to the other hospitals we support. The challenge with it, though, is that it just requires a little more management than the go-karts. The go-karts are actually, we sort of have the two ends of the spectrum where the go-karts solve the problem of not needing to manage gaming equipment or not needing to worry about it in the hospital environment. And so once the go-kart's delivered, it's hopefully, if all goes according to plan, it's relatively hands-free for us. On the other end of the spectrum, the Player 2 initiative solves the education gap that might exist, where maybe you have folks, again, who want to take care of kids, who want to have kind of the latest technology in the hospital environment, but gamers are able to kind of come in and apply the knowledge that we have to help hospital staff members kind of play catch up, and then even sometimes cases learn about a lot of the things that are currently available. So the only challenge, though, is that volunteers have to go through the normal process that the hospital has in place to volunteer in the first place. And that can require a little bit of just sort of discussion with the hospital. It requires having somebody in the hospital to manage that process. So it gets a little complicated. And that's the part we're trying to figure out is like, okay, if we were to roll this out, it's not as simple as a go kart where we can just call a hospital and say, hey, do you want one of these? And usually the answer is yes. It takes a little more like finesse and it's a little different per hospital. And we've got a couple of hospitals we're going to probably roll it out to soon. We've been talking to Seattle Children's a lot about the idea. And then there's another hospital in Michigan we're going to try to roll it out to. But I'm hoping it's something, to be honest, like it's not even necessarily something people would have to go through Gamers Outreach to do necessarily. We're actually going to hopefully have a panel at PAX where we'll be talking about this a little bit more. But really, in theory, anyone at any time could kind of call their local hospital and offer to volunteer in this way. And I think that's something that we want to communicate to the gaming community is like, we're obviously trying to facilitate this as much as possible as we can. But there are some really cool ways people could just start getting involved in their local hospitals on their own independently if they just go through the appropriate channels. So obviously we're going to be growing it and trying to do some cool things on our end, but we're also trying to just by doing all this make people aware of the various ways that they can kind of get involved at a local level in ways that are relevant to them too.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Awesome. And a lot of that stuff's on your website, right?
Yeah, the Player 2 stuff is on our website in blog form at the moment. We haven't built a dedicated program page for it yet. Just because it's so new, but the go karts you can totally see on our website. You just click programs, and it's actually the only drop down item. And then Player 2, you'd have to scroll through our blog roll to see some of the updates related to that program. But I'm hoping we'll have a dedicated program page for it before the end of the year.
That'd be really cool to get involved with.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, it's something that we're hoping. We really want to roll out to other hospitals, and honestly, it might just mean. It might mean we have to document the process a little bit more and then find some folks in different areas who are willing to kind of lead the charge, in their local areas. I mean, almost like a chapter program, I guess. There's one point we were talking about some type of chapter system for Gamers Outreach, but we weren't exactly sure what it would mean. Like do people just join chapters and then that's like fun? Okay, good times, or is it like is there some sort of driving purpose behind it? But I think the Player 2 program kind of presents an opportunity for people to understand at a local level the things that are unique to their hospital that are different, from the ones we've worked with already. But they would also be able to kind of drive and train volunteers and help kind of cultivate a community, to which we could all sort of help collectively talk about through our website and things. But so it's funny because I'm saying that out loud almost for the first time because we've talked a little bit about it internally, but as I'm discussing it, I almost think that could be like the birth of the chapter program in some ways, but have to chew on it a little more.
I'm very familiar with the whole documentation process, being a government worker and everything.
Yeah,
that can be a pain.
Yeah, it's you gotta find that like happy medium. I mean, especially nowadays, like nobody really wants to read a book on policies and procedures, right? Especially when they might not even apply to like what you're doing. So there's definitely like a balance there of like, okay, well, what would it all look like at the end of the day? But we're working on it. It's definitely being worked on, and there are a lot of cool things we've learned already that we would be able to translate, I think, to the right people. So we'll see. We might have to talk about it. Maybe we talk about it at some point because it might be easy for you guys to get started if it's something you're interested in, especially at a local level.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm all the way over in Maryland though, and I think from talking, there's nothing quite out here for me personally, but. It would be, I think
on the East Coast,
there'd be a lot of people that would be, I still think around the country, though, there would be people that would be interested in something like that.
Oh, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, again, it goes back to, I think it's one of the first times that, like, obviously, I could be wrong in saying this, but, like, generalizing here, I think it's one of the first times, like, gamers would be able to sort of directly apply the knowledge they have just from playing video games in this type of volunteer setting, because I think about like ways like gamers kind of get involved in the space. Maybe you become a game developer, you're making games. Maybe you, work at a convention or something. But in the nonprofit sector, it's like all the ways gamers have been doing things has usually been like donate your video games or raise money for a certain cause. So we use gaming to kind of like as a community rallying point. Which is a huge factor for a lot of charity organizations, or we sort of donate games to a particular cause for some effort. But I don't know that there's been a time where like by just being a gamer, you can literally like go into a hospital and almost become a staff member just because you play video games, you know? So it would be interesting in the sense that like, at least this is the way I think of it. And again, I could be wrong in thinking this way, but like, I really feel it's almost like one of the first times like gaming is almost seen as like the skill itself. You know, where people are in the hospital and literally like applying everything they've learned by being a gamer, and using it in a way to relate to patients in a really cool way. But that might be diving like too deep into it, but either way, I think it's something that people could really have a fun time doing. It goes all both ways. Like volunteers have reported saying this, and I can attest to it as well personally, but it's an incredibly fulfilling experience. It's super fun. It takes a little work to get involved, but once you're involved, you can't walk away from it. It's just such a blast. It's an incredible way and a fun way to give back. It's super relevant, especially because it's something we're all passionate about already. And it's incredibly helpful for the staff. Like the hospital staff love having gamers around. It's a huge benefit to their programs and what they're trying to do internally. And then the parents are thankful too, because honestly, sometimes they just want to take a nap, and it's good to like have somebody around who can kind of play with their child. And also sometimes they just like having another adult to talk to in the room, you know? So it's good all around. We've seen tremendous, we've heard tremendous feedback about it, and we're hoping that it's something that will grow, in the future. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So I want to kind of transition back to the tournament stuff since we have Travis back now.
Yeah, sorry
Finally.
about that, guys.
No worries.
This is what happens when I don't have Justin right here next to me to hold my hand through podcasting.
Aw.
But oh well, that's okay. I'm here now.
I guess let's start this way. So we had a little poll that Drunken Halo posted about who would win. And the poll was actually kind of quite telling of the end result. So obviously there was probably a little bias just because of the origin of the poll, but
No, not at all.
Wait, what are you trying to say? Just go ahead and come out and say it.
I'm just saying if each one of us
I don't want to
posted
point
the poll,
any fingers.
I think
but-
each poll would have been skewed towards the podcast that posted it. That's all I'm saying.
That's
Huh,
funny. I didn't
was the
see
poll-
anybody else take a poll.
Was the poll not retweeted endlessly?
It
Yeah,
was.
I retweeted it.
I'm
I
just
think
saying
there
as
is
a-
little
as
bit
a
of
slight
truth to that.
disclaimer.
There is a little bit of truth to that.
Yeah, but regardless of that fact, though, it was pretty telling of the outcome of the results. So, Drunken Halo was obviously voted number one,
Yeah,
closely
buddy.
followed by Podtacular, and then Podcast Evolve I think had the third most highest, and then Delta Halo had the fourth most highest. Which at the start I was going to give Delta Halo some credit because they're a competitive podcast, they're competitive oriented, they probably have the mindset of that competitive edge in there. But it turns out that
They don't.
I guess, yeah. I was trying to think of another more like gentler way to put it, but yeah, they didn't.
Well, they know I love them, but I'm just speaking the truth.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fair
I
enough.
guess it's one thing to like really follow the competitive scene, and I don't know if they didn't know the strategies for the maps, or if they knew but just couldn't execute. Which I'm probably going to go with the latter. So I guess it's I don't know. It's one of those things they may have known what to do, but just weren't quite able to execute on it for one reason or another.
Yeah. Well, and it was interesting. I think I'm going to dance around here just a little bit, but from the pool play, obviously Podtacular and Drunken Halo were the two that basically 2-0'd them. Because of time, we actually forewent going to the Podtacular and Drunken Halo group play because it was just getting late. And thankfully that was round
That
3.
was such a fantastic idea to skip that, because I don't know if I could have played another series that night. So like, dude, it's crazy how just mentally and even physically exhausting putting that much effort playing and like focusing and your strategies, and you're hunched over the whole time. That, man, by the end of our games for the championship, I was done. I was spent.
Yeah. It was a long night.
I was just gonna say I didn't want to. I didn't want to. As just like a viewer as well. Just like at that point, it's like okay, well, we can watch you guys play 3 to 5 games to then just watch you guys play 3 to 5 games. Like so, it's just like it would just prolong. It wouldn't further build the suspense. It would just prolong the suspense to like the final. So yeah, it was definitely a good call because we did the whole thing in that one day.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think it was just like, oh, these two teams they're both 2-2. Let's just like the momentum is already there. And I think that really helped not only the decision, but then just going right into it with the stakes already this high. And then just kind of going straight into it, I think definitely added.
It certainly did.
It would have taken forever had we have played that extra series.
Right. And I think for the most part too, and I guess let's just go ahead and lay out the group results. So I think both Drunken Halo and Podtacular 3-0'd Podcast Evolved and Delta Halo in their series. And then when we had Delta Halo versus Podcast Evolved, we actually did go into a game 4, but when we got to that game 4, Delta Halo won over Podcast Evolved. So technically, Delta Halo came in 3rd and Podcast Evolved came in 4th.
That just makes for a bigger comeback next time, That's what I tell myself. That's what we tell ourselves when we go to sleep.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
But no, it was good. I'll just say real quick against the Delta Halo guys, like whatever issues they had against both of y'all teams. I mean, we had similar issues, and the guys that were playing with us, I mean, we were communicating and talking, but we just were getting kind of just outplayed. But then when we played the Delta Halo guys, like it was, I think all but one match were pretty much tooth and nail, pretty even of those 4 games. And then when we went to game 3, we were like, guys, we need to win one. Like we are capable. And we know the maps, we know what we're supposed to do. We just need to get it all together, and we managed to pull that out. And so that was a little victory for us. And then going into game 4, we were like, all right, well, we got our 1. Let's see if we can squeeze out 2 more and just try to keep our composure. And I think that was a relatively close game as well, but they just kind of took the lead and kept it, if I remember correctly. So I mean, it was all good fun for us, but it sucks to lose. No one likes to lose, but yeah, it was definitely a better way to go out than getting steamrolled in the last series. Like getting those 6 games out of the way first would definitely worked in our favor in hindsight.
Or on your Facebook page, you have posted a video prior to the tournament where like you were super upbeat and like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and basically giving like a 1-minute preview of what was about to happen. And then you posted a video afterwards and you just look so like sunken in your chair and like tired and beaten down.
Dude,
this is what happened.
I was disappointed, dude. Like, I mean, like I said, like, I mean, even with like the soccer game that was going on while we were recording this, like I'm not sure what the final results are, but like you're watching the US team and you're just like, I want to win so badly, but yeah, it definitely takes a toll on you, and that's another thing, with this is like a 6-hour event, and even though some of us played less than others, we still watched other games, and we supported the other teams playing,
and all that,
and we were all doing our own little chat behind the scenes and keeping up with that, and so yeah, it definitely did take a toll out of everyone. But yeah, I did think I had to owe it to our fans to kind of have a post recap to say something, despite how physically exhausting I appeared.
No, it was well done. It was something I noticed. I almost wanted to take a side-by-side picture and post it, but I decided not to.
That'd be pretty funny.
I will say, watching the match between Evolved and Delta Halo, it did seem like, and I think Mudcat also brought this up while he was commentating, but it almost seemed like from the 2 matches that they already had against us and Drunken Halo, that they kind of picked up on some stuff and started applying those things in their gameplay. Or at least I kind of saw them pick up on some gameplay aspects, and it looks like they put some of them to use just through the tournament. So that was kind of cool to see just how teams were developing over the course of the tournament actually going on. Because we're not any professional Halo players. I mean, we put this tournament together because we're not Halo players.
Justin was too good. We didn't want him on our team. It just wouldn't have been fair.
I mean, I will say we kind of for us in terms of that series 3. I mean, after I think our kind of worst showing was against Podtacular. I think the huge blow to from Drunken Halo kind of got to us a little bit, and we underperformed by our standards against Podtacular, and so then we had our good old locker room talk. And we were like, guys, okay, we're going against yada yada yada, and we. I don't necessarily, if we were like looking at what other teams were doing, because we weren't watching the stream, and we all saw it from our point of view, but we definitely, went over kind of like, okay, here's the map and this is the game type. What pathways should we use and stuff like that? And then kind of bringing it back around, I think made us give a stronger showing against the Delta Halo guys.
And I mean, that's kind of what I was saying, was that just even playing the tournament alone, you could see a lot of the teams just benefit from that and start to pick up on other things to improve their gameplay and overall just put out a lot better performance over time during the tournament. And I think that's also going to lead towards when we do the next one of these, which I think with us talking kind of behind the scenes is what we're kind of aiming for, like a winter one as well.
Yeah, there will definitely be another one, but that is all the details we know for now. Like, we don't know time. We don't know if it's going to be Gamers Outreach again, or if someone else is going to have another cool charity, or time, date, format, teams. We don't know any of that, but there will be another one. We do know that.
The Halo Bowl will return.
That's right. Drunken Halo will defend our crown.
There you go. Like Rob?
No, not like Rob. Rob is not associated with Drunken Halo. He is just a mere friend of the show, but not a representative.
Just had to check.
I know.
So yeah, after the group stage, I guess at the end of the group stage, we did the Delta Halo and the Podcast Evolved group 3. Since Podtacular and Drunken Halo had 2 matches secured each, and then we skipped our group play together and we just went straight to the finals. So we basically did the losers finals for group 3, and then we did the winners finals.
Yeah, exactly. So after like 2 games, we knew who the bottom 2 and who the top 2 were. So it basically was a third place game and then the championship.
Right. And that last series was intense.
Man, it was. Like, we here a little fun fact that I don't think anyone knows about what we did during the Delta and Evolved third place game was we were actually scrimmaging we got 4 or 5 scrimmages in while that third place game was going on. Was we had some people in our community were online, and I sent out like 10 friend requests, and the first 4 that hopped on, I said, hey, we're basically waiting for the championship. Do you mind kind of doing some customs with us, keeping us fresh, keeping us warm, and not getting cold with our shots? So a huge shout out to our community for being there for us when we needed them to scrimmage, because I think that really helped us secure those first couple wins, which we really needed as the series went along, because it was getting closer and closer, as each game passed.
And I actually got roped into commentating for that third series. So, yeah, I guess you got a little bit of advantage on that one.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe a little bit. But, Yeah, y'all did good, man. I'm curious to know like how was y'all's mindset after a we beat y'all in scrimmages the night before and just the test run. Did that mess with y'all's psyche at all, or did that motivate y'all, or did we kind of expose your weaknesses that y'all needed to work on, or what was y'all's mindset through that, and then throughout the group stage, and then in the finals?
Well, I'll definitely say that I was not expecting us to do quite as well as we did after playing against you guys. I actually thought Delta Halo was going to put up a strong showing, to be honest. I thought they were going to
they
be.
talked a big game for sure.
But yeah, I thought it was going to end up being you guys and Delta Halo in the finals. And when we started playing through the group stages, we felt pretty good. At least like being able to make it to the finals after playing Delta Halo. But it was definitely one of those things after scrimming with you all that we were just like, we are going to get crushed. We are so screwed.
Yeah, those scrimmages, we came and we actually just I'm gonna do a quick plug. We recorded episode 152 on Saturday, and we had every member of our Halo Bowl team on, and we kind of went game by game going through our strategies and our mindset and everything that was going on. And the scrimmages that we had, we were like, you know what? Like, we know Dust Storm's taking this pretty serious. He held tryouts and everything. Let's maybe not go 100% in the scrimmages, and then, not give them anything, let's not show any of our looks. We don't want to give them any preview as to what we're going to do in the actual tournament. And then once those scrimmages started, man, the light switch went on, and we just pushed it, and we almost pushed it too hard, I think. Because our strategy of let's not really go that hard turned into we're going as hard as we possibly can.
You're just gonna slaughter us, basically.
Well, it was scrimmages though, so I really don't take a whole lot of put a whole lot of stock into that. It was funny how our mindset changed right when the game started.
The tryouts were basically just trying to get people from the Podtacular community on for a team, because we had Haas leave last year after PAX, and then Biowolf was gone after a couple weeks ago. So the only person that was on staff that would have been able to play would have been Godzilla T, and he wasn't available. So I was left up to trying to find people in the community. So that's what the tryouts were kind of really for, was just to get people to put a team together.
How many guys did you have an option to choose from?
All the guys that showed up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, y'all. I mean,
the
you
four
put
that
together
played were the four that showed up.
I mean, y'all had a pretty good team. Keys, man, that dude's a beast. He was definitely y'all's X factor on your team.
He definitely was. He's been someone who's been actually, whenever we do our company events, he's one of the ones that's routinely at the top of the leaderboards when we're playing Warzone or Arena or anything like that. He's routinely up there.
That dude was pretty good.
Yeah. And one of the things that we actually suffer from, which you actually see a lot of novice players or people that try to get into competitive, but it's usually a skill that they lack, is map awareness and communication.
Yep.
And that was definitely something that we lacked on. And we were actually doing okay with it for our first two series, but I definitely noticed that we weren't doing it very well. And it definitely showed when we were playing against you all in the finals. Those first three games, you guys took us pretty quickly. And then we actually had a little bit of a break, I think, between game 3 and game 4, which I think actually helped us, because that just gave us a time to reset. It's like, okay, we know we're going out, but let's just go out playing our best. And it turns out that we played hard enough to put it into a tie. So we had a replay of game 4, which we ended up winning and pushing it to a game 5. And that gave us a little glimmer of hope. And then it came down pretty close. I think we had the possibility to win if we had a couple of more positional advantages during the match, we could have won and pushed it to a game 6 and possibly even a game 7. But
Yeah,
we
y'all
definitely
were
showed up late.
y'all. Yeah, it was, and unfortunately for y'all, and fortunate for us, it was a little, too late. But yeah, game 4 was Fathom capture the flag, and we tied 2-2. And had that game have gone on 10 more seconds, like if that overtime, we would have had 10 more seconds. Drunken Halo would have won that match because we had the flag at our porch with the flag back at our base. Like all we had to do was put the flag right where the flag's supposed to go, and then time expired. And that was a huge kick in the groin for us because that is easily our most hated map in game type, and it showed. And so we had to do it all over again. And credit to y'all. I mean, y'all came out swinging. That second capture the flag game was the only game the whole tournament that we got outslayed, and y'all outplayed us pretty good on that. And so y'all deserve the win. And then game 5, which ended up being the last game, was on regret. And we were up by like 12 kills or something like that, like 32-20 or something. And then before I knew it, it was 45-45 and we were tied. And I would be lying if I said we weren't getting a little nervous.
and it was that slight glimmer of hope too that we were holding on to. And there was a couple times where you guys kind of took ahead, but then we finally got into a rhythm of calling out power-ups and calling out power weapons and making sure that we were in position to grab them. And I remember that we burned OS a lot during that game. I think there was maybe once, maybe twice, where someone actually controlled OS. Otherwise, it got burned.
Yeah, both teams did a really good job staying on top of that. Because that was one of our weaknesses that we found out as we were scrimmaging and putting in some of the preparation and game planning was, we'd be scrimmaging and we'd be like, all right, when's OS coming up? And then we see someone have it. We're like, dang it, okay, well, let's remember. And then 2.5 minutes later, we see someone with OS again. It's like, God, we forgot about it again. And so we try to make it a point throughout the whole tournament to have one guy, and that was Captain Malcolm, kind of be the main power-ups. You tell us when it's coming up, and if you're in the area, you're the one who gets it. And so that kind of worked out well for us. But that last game, I mean, I guess game 4 was really the first game we faced adversity throughout the whole tournament. And it was kind of like we got, we were the bullies that got kicked in the teeth. And then we just weren't quite sure what to do at that point. And like that regret game, we lost our whole shape and it was just a slugfest. And it was just, we did not have any strategy on regret. We were just coming out swinging, and it easily could have bit us in the butt. Luckily, we kind of got a few fortunate kills towards the end and was able to, lock it down. But had it gone to a game 6 or even a game 7, I mean, y'all really, it wouldn't have put past you guys to pull the reverse sweep and take it in game 7.
Yeah, that was intense. I mean, I was definitely proud of our effort after that game 4. Like, if we would have gone out just getting obliterated in game 4, I probably wouldn't have felt as good. I probably would have been like, yeah, we knew that was coming. But the fact that we were able to stand up, push it into a tie, and then win, and then almost win game 5, which I think it was just, there wasn't much more we could have done right. I think there were maybe a couple of moments where we could have had better positioning, but other than that, I think we played a very good game for our team for that game 5, and it just came down to you guys squeaked it out at the very end. So I was very proud of my team, the Podtacular team, when we were done with that.
Yeah, and he definitely should have been. I mean, and I'm glad that the last few games were, they were good games for people to watch. Because like you said, had it have just been a clear 4-0, it would have just been the Halo World Championships all over again. And so I'm glad that, as much as I hate it, I'm glad that y'all really did make it super interesting and super sweaty, because once those games ended, it was just like a big sigh of relief that we didn't have to face game 6 or game 7.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. I I think as far as all the podcasts are concerned, everyone was really happy to participate and really just honored to be part of it. And overall, just be able to raise money for Gamers Outreach was another great cause for this as well. So
Yeah, overall, this could not have gone any better. Like the moment I had the idea, or we had the idea, whoever came up with the idea, if you would have told me this is how it would have went, man, sign me up from the first second we thought about it. It was amazing, just the amount of people that watched, and hopefully my computer doesn't restart, but the casters, because that's where I was going with when my computer decided to restart. But the cast, Mudcat and Riku, did a phenomenal job, really engaging in the audience, and also constantly reminding people to donate, and Delta Halo, and I think you even did this too, Dus. Put a shirt up for a raffle. If you donated $5 or more, your name got in a drawing for a shirt. And like how much money we raised, and just the whole experience was amazing. And I can't wait to do it again. And a huge thanks to Gamers Outreach for letting us do this for them.
You guys honestly don't have to thank us. We're super thankful that you took the initiative in the first place. Thank you for the effort. It really has meant a lot.
Well, we hope we are able to put up a little bit better showing next time. And I think in talking with you during E3, we're going to have a little bit more coordinated effort whenever we decide to do this again, which will, I think, benefit both getting people involved with the stream and being able to donate, as well as just possibly getting some more communities to participate in the actual tournament as well.
Certainly keep us posted. I think for us, as long, especially now that we have seen you guys do it and have an understanding of what it is you've put together, we're super willing to get behind folks and help you promote the broadcast and reach hopefully more people. And I think it's one of those things that goes both ways, right? I mean, I think we'll be able to add things hopefully to the event to make it more fun for you guys, and then ultimately hopefully means that the community will be able to rally together. But I definitely believe you could beat your goal as well, for sure. I think we could definitely team up and raise even more next time. But like I said, there's a lot to celebrate. I mean, you guys did a really great job. This past broadcast. So congrats.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
And I think we have to give a big
podcast
shout out to Gamers Outreach for you, and also 343, who actually helped us push this the day of. So we got, I think, a tweet the day before and a tweet the day of from Bravo about the stream. I think Uni Shek also tweeted about the stream. Jeff Easterling, GrimBrother One, also tweeted the stream, and then Gamers Outreach. You guys were all over the stream all night.
I think Jeff also posted in the blog, or maybe it was Bravo, but I want to say it was Jeff. Jeff had a little lure section in Bravo's blog, and they kind of did that thing and it posted it there. Yeah, it was huge for the amount of outside support that we got beyond just the four of us, and then of course with Zach and everything.
Yeah, he actually, I guess Drew reached out to Grim, seeing if we could put something in the blog, because that's something that 343 has actually been pretty responsive on, is whenever there's a community effort like this one that goes really well, they usually put it in the blog. So it was something that I think Drew managed to get in touch with Jeff, get put together, and then he reached out to us to all put a blurb together, and that's what you ended up seeing in the community update the Friday after. So that would have been the 10th, June 10th.
And dude, I was so excited that we got on that. We had been doing this show for 5 years now, and the fact that we were finally able to make it onto an official 343 waypoint was so exciting. I couldn't sleep because Jeff sent us that tweet at 1 a.m, and I don't think I went to sleep till 3 o'clock. I was like, all right, well, what are we gonna say? I'm nervous. It's my one chance to be on the community update. I don't want to screw it up, but it's such an honor that they did that for us, because that really meant a lot to me.
343 crew in general have always been pretty supportive of what we've been working on, and I got to imagine they're supportive. I mean, obviously they're supportive of you guys undertaking this effort. So I think the next time you guys do this, I wouldn't be surprised if they get more behind it in advance and help out more. So I definitely don't think it was the last time you'll grace the pages of the Halo Waypoint Bulletin.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
I remember last time I was either you guys were on our podcast or I was on Drunken Halo, and there was a discussion point where it was like 343's never tweeted out anything about you or whatever.
Yeah,
and
that was
like,
with me.
Yeah. And now you have no excuse. I've been telling you that, yes, they are very well aware of who you are. And I think this just kind of goes to prove that, yeah, you're out there now.
Yeah, you're right. There's definitely no more excuses on that.
I suppose so.
I mean, I think it may have something to do with the word drunk, but
yeah, you're right. That's exactly why, if I was to guess, but it is what it is.
But yeah,
but
like at the end of the day, though, it is nice, and even in our pre-show one that you guys did that I wasn't able to make it to like 2 weeks ago before we did the whole thing, we broke down like each of our podcasts represent a different aspect of this Halo franchise, and that just the fact that this franchise has this many avenues to talk about every week on an hourly basis, if not longer, is just like a testament to the franchise and the people making it and the people who support it and people like us who follow it. And so just, all the recognition, and I don't know, it's just a good warm feeling inside is the best that I can put it. And so for them to acknowledge that, and all of us, is just a whole nother level that, as just a Halo fan, for me, I would have never guessed that would even happen. And I was even able to go to 343 before this whole thing and like visit Jeff and see everything, and like that, just the way that 343 communicates with their community and the support that they have is unlike anything I've ever experienced or could really even ask for as a fan of this franchise.
Yeah,
That's cool.
it's really cool what they've done for the community. And like you said, it's really awesome to see so many different corners of the universe be able to have different communities put together. And I'm honestly very humbled by being invited to be a part of it, because I know Podtacular's been out there for a long time. We're like kind of the old and crusty podcast, so to speak. So to be invited by some of the young guns is actually a pretty cool honor. So we're definitely happy to be a part of it, and definitely more happy to be part of any other ones in the future, and to help with getting other communities on board as well.
Yeah, so the next
And we
one's going to
actually-
be interesting. If we decide to bump it up to maybe 8 teams and then have 2 pool plays, and I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm sure there will be more communities involved though with how well this one went.
And I've already had communities reach out to me expressing interest in whenever we're doing the next one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So there's definitely some attention that was garnered from this. Reddit Halo is one.
Ooh, that'd be an interesting one, yeah.
That kind of prominently reached out to me. I had a couple other side queries about it as well. I don't remember from who exactly, but there were a couple of other communities that were definitely interested in what we were doing.
There's a ton of communities out there, so I'm sure lack of interest is not going to be an issue.
No, doubtful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm confident we could push 8 if we wanted to.
Easily. Yeah, for sure.
It just comes with the further difficulty of coordinating it all. But, we have a few months to do that, so I'm confident we're able to.
Well, and we've done it once, and since we've done it once, we're a lot better off on doing it a second time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the next one it'll be an interesting one for sure.
But that won't be for a few months.
While. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's about all the time that we have tonight to wrap things up. Wanted to just give a huge thanks to Zach for coming on, giving us a little more details about what Gamers Outreach is and what all the money that you guys helped us raise is actually going to. So that was really cool. And Zach, thank you for all the support that you gave us during the tournament and for spending some time with us this evening.
Yeah.
No, it's honestly, it's no problem. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
And again, it was awesome chatting with you at E3, and hopefully you get to run into you at PAX.
Yeah, that was incredibly awesome. I'm so glad you said hello, and we will definitely be at PAX. I'm hoping we'll have some booth. I actually need to still figure that out, but we'll be at PAX and hopefully TwitchCon. Well, we'll definitely be at TwitchCon. We for sure have a booth at TwitchCon, which that's another podcast exclusive. We've not yet announced yet, but and then PAX we're hoping to be at and have a panel at. So if you're there, yeah, definitely say hello.
And then for all the other podcasts on here, Justin and Travis, if you want to go ahead and plug your stuff.
Go to follow us on Twitter. That is at Drunken Halo. Like us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Drunken Halo Podcast. And go to our website. It's jtpodcasts.com.
And then, Oren, you want to plug all the Podcast Evolve stuff?
Yeah, so you can follow us on Twitter at Podcast Evolved, and we have our Facebook group at Drucifer Halo. But if you search Podcast Evolve on the in the search bar, it should pop up. And our podcast is on iTunes, like everyone else's. And we if you don't already know, we focus mainly on lore and looking into the books, and also diving into all the different rec packs and all that stuff that is announced in Halo 5.
And then as far as Podtacular is concerned, you can find us over at podtacular.com. We're also on Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram. If you go to podtacular.com/whatever, if we have it, then it will certainly redirect you to the right place. And then for Delta Halo, they're an oddball to find sometimes with all of their stuff, but I believe they're at Part-Time Gaming on Twitter?
No, so on Twitter they are at part_time_elite.
There we go.
Yeah, and you can also find their shows on iTunes as well. And they are a competitive focused podcast. So they may not play competitive well, but they talk about competitive well. So
there you go.
Yeah, go check them out also.
So they talk the talk, but they don't necessarily walk the walk.
That's a great way to wrap it up, Dust. I think.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're working on it, you know. I think, like us, they're taking this experience as a learning opportunity to better ourselves come the winter.
There you go.
Well, they've got a long way to go.
Right. Keep those hands warm. Keep those controllers all greased up, ready to go. All right. Well, on behalf of everyone here tonight, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for supporting the tournament and supporting the cause. For all those who did, for those who didn't, we hope to see you around possibly on the next one. Please make sure you check out all the podcasts that participated, and you can go check out our final results over at bit.ly/HaloBowl-GO1 for Gamers Outreach 1. For the first one of these, we'll probably do some. I don't know how many more of these we'll do, but
there's no telling.
Yeah, this may be a tradition that gets started amongst the Halo community, which might go on for generations. Who knows?
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
I like the idea. I like the idea of my kids that I don't have someday taking up the Drunken Halo mantle and winning one for their good old dad.
No, if Microsoft keeps on milking Halo, who knows where we'll be in 10 years, 20 years, 50 years.
There's so many
knows?
stories to tell in the universe. Like, man, they're gonna make these till the end of time.
Yep.
There will still be that debate, DMR versus BR.
Ooh.
Hashtag DMR.
Yes.
Hashtag DMR.
DMR. There you go. All right. Any final words from anybody?
Evolved.
Stay golden.
Stay hard.
Is that the Delta Halo one?
No, that's mine.
Well, that's now the Delta Halo one, because you are Delta Halo.
Stay hardcore, I guess.
Stay
For
hard.
competitive. And for us, keep on fragging trucks.